My name is Jonathan Francisco, and today we are at the New Media Lab podcast. Today I will be interviewing with the man, the legendary, Terry Leonard. Today I'll be having some questions with you. Okay, my first question I'll be asking is, how did you get started when it comes to movie businesses?
Well, I got started, I was going to the University of Arizona. I was going to teach history and coach high school football and had no intention of ever being in the movie business. But a movie came to town called McClintock with John Wayne. And I got to work as a local extra on that. And I got a little bit of an introduction to the movie business there, and I met a guy named Chuck Roberson who was a stunt double for John Wayne. And I had no intention of ever being in the film business, so I continued college and my athletic career. I went to Canada to play professional football with the BC Lions, and I got hurt the first season up there, and they couldn't get me out of there quick enough. They put me on an airplane out of Vancouver, went back to Tucson, and I was majorly depressed because my career as an athlete was over. I was out the other end of the tunnel as an athlete, and I didn't want to go back to school and pick up 11 units I had left to become an accredited teacher. So I'm laying on the bed, and I said, I know, I'll call Chuck Roberson. We'd remained acquaintances through those years. See what he thinks about me being a stuntman. I called him, and he said, yeah, Terry, come on out. Give it a try. He said, you'd be a good stuntman. So I packed up everything I owned in a little box about that big and went to California to throw my hat in the ring to be a stuntman. And here I am 53 years later. And the point I want to make about that particular moment is that don't ever turn your back on a tragedy. Always look for something good to come out of it. It's going to be tough to get through it, but don't ever let it get you down. I was depressed because I was no longer an athlete, and looking at going to teach school and coach high school football, it was good, but I wanted something else in my life at that point. And because of getting hurt in Canada, I ended up in the film business, which was the greatest thing that ever happened to me. So don't ever let a tragedy get you down. Always try and look for the good that'll come out of it. It may not be apparent right then and there, but it will be eventually. So that's how I got into business. So here I am.
That's an amazing story that you just told us. And because of that, you just gone to some amazing movies that you just starred in, like Beneath the Planet of the Apes, Fast and Furious, and The Lone Ranger. Out of those movies I just told right now, which one did you like the most when you were doing stunts?
Well, there's been a lot of movies I've worked on that I've liked a lot. I can't determine which one was my most favorite. Including McClintock, I did 5 pictures with John Wayne, and that I considered an honor in my career. Planet of the Apes, I had my fallen horse on it, did a stunt on that. We fell the horse, and we liked the movie. I mean, anytime you're working, it's a good job. But one of my favorite movies of all time that I've worked on was a movie called The Wind and the Lion. We made it in 1974 in Spain with Candy Bergen and Sean Connery. I doubled Sean Connery and did almost every stunt on the movie. The story is so great. If you ever get a chance to watch it, it's called The Wind and the Lion with Sean Connery and Candy Bergen. John Milius directing, and was I thought a great movie in my stunt career.
Now I just want to watch a movie now.
Yeah, you got to watch it. It's a great film. If they released it today, it would really make a lot of money.
How did you know that you wanted to do what you're doing?
You know, I didn't. I didn't really know. By working as a local extra, I got to see a number of stuntmen working that I eventually worked with when I went to California. But back in that particular period of my life, I like I said, I didn't really have any aspersions to be a movie stuntman or anything. I just was trying to make a dollar. Where they paid us $20 a day as a local extra, and if you got on a horse, they pay you an extra $5. So that was a lot of money when gas was 19 cents a gallon, and a McDonald's, I think, was just started opening about then. They were about 18 cents for a hamburger. So you could live pretty good on a couple bucks, and especially when you're in college. But as I started a little more interested in film, I saw where, that could extend my athletic career a little bit, because stuntmen are athletes of the highest order. That made me feel good when I got in there and started doing stuff. I said, here I'm back being an athlete again, which I thought was going to be the end of my career as an athlete.
Have you ever been starstruck with anyone?
Well, I'll tell you what, I really haven't. The people I respected, my mother was a school teacher, my sister was a school teacher, and some of the people that were in my history as a young man, my high school football coach, my high school track coach, I really honored and respected them because they were doing something besides being a movie star. A movie star, that everybody sees them, they make a lot of money, and what are they really doing to help, I use the word mankind. What are they doing for their fellow man to help them? I've always said the teachers, the healers, and the philosophers of the world are my heroes, because they give you a way to look at life a little different than just making a lot of money and going, I'm a movie star. Now, I respect a lot of movie stars. Don't get me wrong. I respect their craft, and I've had a few parts where I went, like that, and I couldn't get the words out. So I respect what they do tremendously, but they're not really doing anything other than entertaining people. They're not doing anything to help anybody. So the teachers and the healers of this world, doctors that put you back together after a bad wreck, which I've had a number of them doing stunts, and I wouldn't even be walking if it hadn't been for a doctor in California named Robert Clapper that has become a dear friend of mine. He's put me back together. Those people that are doing something for humanity, I really, really respect. So I haven't really been in awe of anybody. I will say this, the first time I met John Wayne, I kind of went, whoops. He was bigger than life. And I was a little impressed by him, I have to say, in awe, if I use the word. But I've worked with all of them, doubled them, and they're just regular people, and I've never been in awe of anybody in the entertainment business that much.
Wow. John Wayne sounds awesome.
Wayne was a great guy. He was a real American.
What are some people that you worked best with, throughout your stunt career?
Well, there's been some actors I've worked with, like Harrison Ford. Richard Boone, who helped get me in the Directors Guild. John Wayne, he was just great to work with. My good friend John Milius was probably the greatest screenwriter in Hollywood. I worked on every picture he's done. Chuck Heston, another one, great to work with.
Oh my God, I'm back.
Back in the day, and I started a little bit this way, you have kind of a cavalier attitude. The ones that go wrong make you pay a lot of attention to them the next time. You can't be a stuntman and not be smart. You've got to be able to see the potential danger in a stunt and work around it. We always say we can work 75% of the danger out of a stunt, and then 25% is kind of left in the hands of the Lord. And I've been hurt a couple times severely, probably should have never stayed alive, and I have to thank the good Lord for helping me through it, even though I did get severely hurt by a couple of them. But you can't have a cavalier attitude towards stunts, and today everybody has progressed in the safety concept of stunt work. Back in the 20s and the 30s and into the 40s, there wasn't a lot of safety gimmicks that we used, but there's been a lot of development in automobile stunts and motorcycle stunts and horse stunts. A little bit. Horse stunts are still kind of the way we did them. Well, I say the way I did them, but I don't mean to use that word. But stuntmen in the years past, in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, it's still about the same. It's still a hard thing to do, and you can only pad up so much. If you're playing an Indian, for example, I've doubled Richard Harris on the first Man Called Horse, and I had a fellow horse bareback in a in a real light cotton pair of pants. Just didn't have a shirt or anything. You couldn't put any pads on, can't hide them, and fell that horse. And he went over the top of me, and everything worked really good. But those are the kind of stunts you did. If you're doubling somebody with a short sleeve shirt or something, hard to hide pads. The advent of safety has really become paramount in the film business today, and it wasn't that way years ago. And when I first got started, it wasn't that big a deal, but it is now.
Well, thank God for everything that happened and that you are here today.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
I'm about to end this podcast soon, but I have one question. Due to a fan, how's your day going?
It's really going good to be here with all of you people. I'm really happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you for being here with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.
Well, you did a nice job.
I'm surprised.